Hey everyone, Matt here, obviously. So I've talked about Ether's Oath before on the podcast and how we've decided to partner with them so we can actually have a really good group of people just taking care of our merch. Hey Joe, hey Mackenzie, how did Ether's Oath get started?
I just kind of wanted to make like my own clothes, just at least shirts wise, because I have like too many shirts at home, so I wanted to like start being more picky with what I wore. But I definitely wanted to tap into like a music market for like people who are more rock and metal oriented, because I feel there aren't a ton of clothing lines that kind of go with that.
And when it comes to designs, Ether's Oath is definitely inspired by gothic, hardcore, tarot, and especially the metal genre as well. Looking at Ether's Oath merch, there's a lot of influence in this. And with that being said, how have your customers received and how have they felt about your product?
We've had a couple drops so far. In our initial one, everyone was really drawn to it. We dropped a tarot card of our face of Ether's Oath, which is Ether herself, and she's our Reaper. And people have really enjoyed it. We have gotten lots of feedback as far as what people would like to see, what type of merch for both men and women, and it's been really exciting so far. And a lot of people have been asking more about what we're having for the future and what's coming up.
With a big future ahead of you and a lot more plans coming through the pipeline coming into 2020, where could everyone go to get their own Ether's Oath branded merch?
If you want to do it online, you can go to ethersoath.com. It's AETHERSOATH.com. We have all of our products up there, from stickers, posters, to shirts.
Here to there, girls and gals, we decided to team up with Ether's Oath because they not only care about what they're doing in their products, but they care about the people that they take care of. That's why we love them. That's why we decided to partner with them. So please check out ethersoath.com today. Again, that is AETHERS oath.com. All right, thank you. To the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
And today we are here to remind you to pick on that one horror movie that you've been looking at Netflix but not sure if you should actually watch. Do it, because you're probably going to like it. It's probably going to be a great movie. And if not, at least you're doing the service by telling other people to not watch it.
Unless it's Eli, according to Matt.
Yeah, Eli's always the worst one. Don't watch Eli. Like, I'm just telling you right now.
Also, we would like to welcome
our very
own
special
guest,
Crystal from Horror Nights In Podcast. Thank you, Crystal, for joining on with us.
Hi guys, what's up? I'm happy to be here
again.
That
was a really ridiculous introduction.
I'm just glad that worked really well.
Fine. I'm happy to be on again. I'm excited to be here again.
Well, we're excited to have you on, and it's actually a first for you being on our show too. So this is really cool. This is really exciting. We've been fans of Horror Nights In from all the way here in Denver for a while now, and we've had a really good friendship. Both of our shows has. So this is kind of like this super friends finally starting to meet.
Yeah, that's a good
horror
way to put it. I'm okay with that.
It's okay. That was a terrible joke. I could hear the nervous laughter in that one. Like,
that was really stupid.
Oh, it's good. I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. It's always fun when we're on each other's shows.
I think so too.
So I agree. I absolutely agree. I can't actually wait for us hopefully you call us to come back on yours again here soon.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun when we were on there, and we're super excited for this.
Yeah. So, before we jump into the main subject of today, though, we are going to want to learn a bit more about Horror Nights In, and we want all the ghouls and gals and creeps and ins to hear what the Horror Nights In podcast is all about. So, how did you get started with your show, Crystal?
So I started my podcast about a year and a half ago. I wanted to talk about horror films with a group. Enjoyed watching them because on my end, my friends and family appreciate the fact that I love horror, but they don't actually watch the horror themselves.
So I'm kind of just wanted to come up with a way. I've been listening to podcasts, specifically horror movie review podcasts for a long time, and I was just like, you know what, I can do this, and I'm gonna do it. So that's how Horror Nights in. So and I put a new episode out every other Monday, and it's just I love doing it freely about horror films to an audience that also appreciates. It's a lot of fun, and I'm really happy that I. Sure.
Beautiful. I mean, and I honestly think that's the same way we all get into horror, right? Where you're usually that friend or maybe even two friends who are big, huge horror aficionados, but your friends tend to not share that same liking for horror. So
yeah, like we would go see like my. Like when Halloween remake came out, but they just didn't really get it. They were just like, "Oh, we'll go with you because you really like horror," and I was like, "Okay." And then it was sort of to the screen the entire time. My friends were kind of just like, "Hmm." So I have to thank them for being supportive.
Yeah, you're like, okay, but I really wish someone would talk to me about it.
Yeah, so it's definitely. Like finding that there's this whole community of people who love horror just as much as I do, and that they like, and so it's been a crazy journey so far, but it's been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, it's been really cool finding everyone like who loves horror as much as us too. Because like I remember when me and Matt were younger, like back in high school. Whenever we had movie nights with other friends, we'd like, let's watch a horror movie, and most of them were like, no. So me and Matt would stay up like, a lot later while everyone else went to sleep just so we could watch our horror movie.
That's funny you say that. That actually triggered a memory of mine. When I was in 8th grade, I had a sleepover, and I was always the oldest in my grade. I was born. It was just the world works when you're born. But everybody in my class was 12, and so I told my parents that I wanted to rent the Poltergeist, and I believe at the time. So everybody that we could watch it. So I like to be the aficionado, bring them horror ever since I was 13.
we definitely know that feeling. We're definitely in that same boat with you, where it was just like oh, you guys can tell us about all these cool indie movies and whatnot, but when you're ready to talk about horror, we got some shit for you to check out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you just can't stop yourself. You just always, like, if you're like, oh, yeah, let's talk about it. Like, what do you guys... So...
Absolutely. Also, kind of a small apology to our listeners. We have audio issues on our end. It's just where we're recording. It just messes with it every now and then. So if the audio drops out, it's not something that we can hear and predict in time, but hopefully it doesn't. So... That being said, when people what can people expect from a Horror Nights In episode? If you were going to describe it to even in a pitch meeting.
So I actually am not just a pop. Super excited about. I've had a YouTube channel for since October. As soon as I hit my 1-year mark as a podcast, I then started a YouTube channel because I had enough of a following on my podcast and my Twitter. So basically, my YouTube is for anything fun that I want to do related to horror. The last video, I did like a whole bunch of episodes for like American Horror Story. I talk about why modern horror podcast is actually a little bit different. My obviously a horror film, and I like to sort of put a mental issue on there. So for example, I did Knives Out review last week, and then I kind of delve into the psyche of the family and how greed and selfishness all step going on in your mental health with your family. So it's evolved definitely from just being a review podcast film, and I really delve into the psyche of the main character, apart from other podcasts that just Because what I do is I like to take the main character and really dive into that brain and figure out like what's causing them to feel this way, to do these things. You could go, anywhere from Michael Myers to Norman Bates. So that's kind of what I've been more so lately. But then, like I said, I more fun stuff because the podcast can get a little bit some talking about mental health, but overall it's a really cool concept because I'm still sticking to the core, which is horror. So
yeah, and I'm actually glad you brought up the YouTube. I was going to touch on that after about your podcasting too. You definitely have successfully kind of transferred over to a YouTube platform as well, and just seeing how you're growing on there, like it's really inspiring, really motivating, and even from like a colleague perspective of it too, with how you talk about your horror movies and how you adapt it to your YouTube as well. It really inspires us for us doing video as well on our end, because we're just starting to get into it, to get used to it, and like it's more so just a pure admiration that we have for you and what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with everything that you've done on your YouTube. It's great.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I know, and I'm actually, and this is going to sound very, TikTok has been a lot of fun too, because I found the horror community on there too. So it's sort of like cosplay now that I do, which is so much fun. I just started doing it like a week ago.
So
much fun because I found
because
a
I've been
whole
wanting to do
other.
TikTok.
Oh my god, it's so much fun. It's like cosplay in like a 30 or 15-second video. And because they already have the clips from the movies, I don't know if you guys have seen the ones that I put up. I did one last 1,000 Corpses, of course, because it's my favorite. It was on my Twitter and my Instagram. I was cosplaying as Baby. And it's just so much fun. It's so easy because it's an app that already it's built in there for you, and it's just so much fun because you can create and you can take on and really just get into it. It's so much fun. I love it. It's so much fun. I've been, like I said, but it's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Badass. Hopefully,
awesome.
Once we get the video side of our podcast working pretty well, hopefully next one we can do is on-screen video thing somehow. We can figure that out. But I mean, really, it's
so cool.
I think what's really cool about our show having this like positive relationship with your show is that it reminds us, or at least specifically me, of a lot of these punk bands that were coming from the Fat Records side of California that were coming up at the same time and all started supporting each other and knew of each other. And just seeing you and what you're doing and how supportive not only just us, but you are with a lot of other creators too, and a lot of other horror creators, definitely helps create a synergy amongst all of us to support each other, help each other out, and give ourselves each other, that little boost. Because fact of the matter is that horror has always been the underdog of the mediums, of every single art medium.
Always.
And so,
yeah.
United we stand. I guess I could end that on.
For sure. And we can take over all the platforms because there's such a stigma with TikTok. No, but everyone's like, oh, girls dancing, and I'm like, no, it's not, trust me. And like I remember when I tweeted out that I had a TikTok, everyone was like, oh no, just wait to see what I create. And then I remember I put up when I was cosplaying, and everyone's like, this is the best use of TikTok ever. And I'm like, see guys, you gotta trust me.
I think it's just because because TikTok is basically the new Vine. Those are the videos that always get the majority of attention. Is just like some girl or some guy, in whether it's a sexually suggestive thing or not a sexually suggestive thing, reprising lines to a movie or a music video. Those are the ones that get attention, and then sadly it's when there's actual people who like what you're talking about, who love horror and actually love horror movies and are even reprising their favorite quotes from House of 1,000 Corpses. Unfortunately, those don't get the biggest attention. So I will say those ones definitely do need it more. Also a little biased, but still.
Yeah. Well, what's funny for me is when TikTok was first coming out, and like I was seeing all the ads for it on my Facebook, I was actually seeing more of the creepier side. Like, yeah, it was one of the songs was like that swing dance one was like, come around now. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But every time I saw it with the video, it was always the really like gothic or super creepy ones. And there was a Handsome Jack one, which, funny enough, is my friend Cheyenne.
Oh, really?
She did that version, and it's all over the ads. And I was like, that's fucking dope.
I also think it's like really courageous of you to go on TikTok. I think one big admiration I have for you, Crystal, is that you have such a comfortable nature when it comes to being on camera. And I watch your stuff, and I watch it more than once just to see how you get into that mindset. And I think it's so cool that you just can leave the fact that there's a camera in front of you behind and just be in your own natural element. Do you get nervous at all? I mean, and if so, what are some tips you'd be willing to give?
No, I don't ever. I mean, it's my camera in my office, like my pod. So I don't want to say I get nervous. I definitely stumble through my words sometimes, but then I just kind of go back. But for the most part, I camera. But like I said, if there was like somebody standing behind the camera, I'd be times more nervous. But because I'm controlling it, I know what I want to say, how I want to depict it. What I do is I honestly pick myself talking to like my family friends. Like I picture like you guys sitting there and like another friends I have from Don't Fuck With the Original podcast. My friend Patrick, who's from guys in a room, and what you would want to hear talk. And there's been times accidentally it'll just like run out of memory and I won't notice and I'll just keep talking. And the best thing for you to do is with your angles, how you look on camera, because you're the one who's controlling it. So we sit and start over. I can't tell you how many times I've recorded and I've been like, I don't really like that. So I'll just go back and angle, change the way I look. But for the most part, I'm not imagining myself speaking to like an auditorium of people. I'm just thinking of what I would talk about if I had people, the horror family, right in front of me. And you know, you can practice too. Fortunately for me, I guess when I was younger, I did a lot of acting and I was a part of different plays and stuff. And I always wanted to be the center of attention. So I liked when I was getting airtime, and I liked when I was getting the attention on me, and I liked the way that I looked when I was on camera, and you know what I'm saying? So I don't have the most confidence in the world, but when I'm on camera, you can't really tell that I have a lower confidence than somebody else. My thing is when people ask you do it, I just say you just have to do it. Like you just have to sit in front of your camera and you have to just say, okay, I'm going to pretend. Because most of the time, I'm usually not even really looking directly into the camera. I'm kind of just like talking. And you just have to do it. Like, you can only set up so much. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that you're sitting in front of a camera. You could do it on an iPhone. Like, anybody could do it. And as long as you just have that little bit of push and that creativity, then you can do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Great words of wisdom from an absolute badass of a person. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you just have to do it. You just have to make sure you're just having fun with it. You know, don't ever overthink it. And I know that's hard, but for the most part, like for anybody that asks me, even people who say like, oh, I want to do a podcast, but I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, you just have to do it, because once you do it one time, then you can do it a million more times. It's honestly, and if you do it and you hate it, then you don't ever have to do it again, because you're not getting paid and you don't have to tell anybody that you tried it. So
yeah. So this is gonna be my dirty little secret.
Yeah, but for the most part, I usually can get things done within a couple takes, and then I'm pretty good with that. Like, I'm not super critical of myself either, because I'm not looking to impress the entire world. I'm just wanting to share how I feel. And I think that's the best way to go about it.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not looking for recognition. You know, I don't need the entire world to watch my videos. Would it be cool? Yeah. But do I need that? No. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good words of wisdom.
I agree completely.
Do it. You just got to do it. Have to. If it's something you want to do, then you just have to do it, because there's only so much prep you could do. Like, one of my best friends, Steven, I love him to death, but he's been prepping to be on YouTube for like 6 years, and I'm like, dude, just do it.
Like, at that point, just come on. You've had plenty of time.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Just jump in.
Are you being serial right
The
now?
water's only going to get more cold.
Yeah, exactly. So I always, anybody that I've had people message me on like Twitter and Instagram and tell me that they're going to start a podcast, and I'm like, oh, that's good. And then like a couple weeks later, I'll be like, did you start yet? Where are you? What's your iTunes? What's your thing? And they'll be like, oh, I haven't started yet. And I'm like, come on, you got to do it, because it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, the support is definitely there, and we've had that as well with people wanting to that have said the same thing to us. And what I usually go to is I tell people, you go ahead and do it, man. You get it started, and when you are ready, let us know, and we'll bring you on. Like, we'll support you however we can. The unfortunate side of that.
Said that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just the unfortunate side is that they actually have to do it. They have to get past that nervousness. And like, in no way am I not trying to sound sympathetic, because I get it. It's a huge anxiety to get past, knowing that you're going to have X amount of strangers listening to you, and you don't know how that's going to go. But at some point, you just got to really say, fuck it. If I fail, at least I tried at it. But I'm just tired of waiting on it. You got to get so mad at yourself that you make yourself do it.
No, that's so true. And it's like, you don't know if you're going to fail it. And that's how I feel. That's why I'm trying to like branch out on all these different platforms and like just go see how many places and people I can hit on how in a short amount of time. See, you know what I mean? Like, happen. And the reaction that I've gotten has been more than I could have anticipated, especially with TikTok, because I just started it like 2 weeks ago, and the following and the likes and the comments and things. It's just like, you really have to jump on things when they're in everybody's mind. I mean, there's 500 million users on TikTok. Like, why would you not want to use that to your advantage? Especially because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I also think it takes just like a lot of like courage to get past the anxiety of like people gonna say mean things to you about it.
And people have
Yeah.
really shitty things to say. And somebody actually, that's funny that you mentioned that. Somebody asked me about that the other day. They were like, how do you deal with people that like leave negative comments on your YouTube and your Instagram? Because I get them. People have said pretty not nice things to me, and I kind of just sounds really shitty, but like, I'll go to their page and I'll see that they have like 3 followers and like a really shitty rapport and like 2 pictures. And I'm like, well, you're not adding anything to this space, so I'm not going to give you my time or my attention. Right. And then I'll let it go for like 24 hours. And the next day I'll like their comment, and then I keep it moving, because I'm not gonna, you just can't let that negativity get to you, because it's just not worth it. As long as you like the content that you put out, then that's really all that matters. You can't really let that negative stuff get to you. So that's my advice too.
And I will say, just kind of like to touch on what you're talking about too, when it comes to like punk rock, the general idea behind it, and just the music in general, is the whole idea of not really giving a shit and just doing it anyways. So, because like, the fact of the matter is that, you're like, there's always going to be like, we'll use your example. You had some dude or some girl or whoever comment on you and say something like, you suck, and find out this person isn't really doing anything for themselves. You got to keep in mind that these people that are saying these mean things aren't probably really doing anything to benefit themselves, and they're taking it out on everyone around them. And if somebody's going through their effort to just attack a complete stranger and say you're trash or whatever hateful thing you want to imagine, that's someone that you gotta not care that they don't listen to you anyways. You know,
they're just a bunch of fucking lampreys. Hashtag no
Yeah.
lampreys. Hashtag Tomb of Nick Cage.
We just did a bad interview. Thus is the reference.
Yeah, it was an interview we just did.
But
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
with that being said, you know, Ghouls, Gals, Creeps, and Mutants alike, please check out Horror Nights In on YouTube and also on any podcasting platform, wherever you
I'm literally everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm on
check out
everything.
Yeah, check out her TikTok, check out Crystal on Instagram. She's
Everywhere.
so cool. She's like the friend from school that we've had forever, but lives in an entirely different state.
Yep.
So with that being said, we're going to jump into today's subject. And we also have a listener participation corner as well. So today we are talking about not just the history, but the difference between supernatural and paranormal horror. These two are often considered to be the same thing, but if you talk to a certain amount of people, they will disagree with you and tell you they are vastly different. So today we are hoping to finally point out where the lines are and where it's at. But first, jumping into it, let's jump into our listener participation corner. So we asked all you ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants, what is the difference between paranormal and supernatural, or do you feel that they're the same? And we want to know what you think. So, starting it off over on our Twitter is the very humorous and very funny and really sweet Antoinette and Fox at Antoinette Fox NY. She said supernature.
God, she's
super,
funny.
but
Sorry.
Natural. Yeah, no, she really is. I enjoy her. But she did end up following with an actual comment saying, supernatural seems earthbound. Crypto, UFOs, psychic abilities, things science can somehow explain sooner or later. Paranormal seems less earthbound, more ghostly, religious, i.e. demons, vampires, etc. Just my idiot opinion. It ain't gospel, lol. And I will say, Antoinette, it is not an idiot opinion. It's a very, very good opinion. So it's a smart opinion. From Amy Coda at TV Fanatic Girl at TV Fanatic Girl. Interesting discussion. I feel like supernatural covers a wide range of elements. It could be supernatural forces at work or some kind of supernatural being, but it doesn't necessarily fit into one specific category. A paranormal seems to focus more on ghosts, spirits, / even hauntings. And then going on to Mary Elizabeth Rowe at Mary Rowe, 1974. Supernatural always makes me think of evil, scary stuff like demons or the devil, and paranormal makes me think of more of ghosts. Haunted houses, people with psychic abilities, that sort of thing. Which is really good. And actually, if you go onto the Twitter right now, I actually had a really good conversation with her about it, kind of talking more about it. One thing that I thought was really cool is that she actually, because I asked her what movies would come to mind when talking about this, and one that I knew that people were going to talk about was Hereditary, but the one that I was really surprised and really happy that she pointed out was Rosemary's Baby. Like, that one no one ever brings up, and the fact that she did, just made me so happy because she made it the example of a sense of poltergeist or paranormal for that one. And so, bravo, like, right on. Going more forward from Mila at Mila944, I guess supernatural would be something we will never understand or comprehend, i.e. fairies, devils, gods, etc. And paranormal would be like ghosts and stuff like that. And then ending on Winfield at Winfie1. The two words basically have the same definition. Supernatural encompasses everything science can't explain, but paranormal is attributed to pulp culture. Paranormal is a marketing word. And I really wanted to include this one too because this is a really interesting opinion. Like, I didn't really expect this one kind of being used for the subject. So I wanted to mention this as well. So thank you to everyone that commented on our Twitter, but over on our Facebook.
We only had one. It was from our buddy James, and he said, I think supernatural horror involves things like werewolves, vampires, monsters, etc., whereas paranormal horror involves ghosts and demons.
So overall, the general consensus tends to be, one tends to be things that we can explain on a more earthly type of basis, where the one seems to be more of an otherworldly basis, where we're also looking at the one where it's just like they're the same thing as well, and that paranormal is a marketing word, and that's really interesting. So, Cody, let us know about the history. Let us know what it is. Let's talk about this. Unless, Crystal, do you have any inputs?
So I actually saw the comments that people were saying on Twitter, and I totally agree with you with the whole like hereditary thing. I didn't even think about any of that. I was thinking more of like actual paranormal, like paranormal activity and like The Conjuring. But
Yeah.
I have to agree with what a lot of people were saying. Paranormal is like something we can eventually like explain, like a ghost or something, or like spiritual healing. But supernatural, I think, is more something you can't explain. Like you can't really ever explain a guardian angel. You can't ever explain like our souls. And I found that really interesting because and I was actually talking to my sister about this, and I said, I feel like paranormal is more like demon and supernatural is more like angel, but I don't know if that's just because of the stigma that's been put for so long. But the thing is, like, you can't ever really explain a demon or an angel, so I have to agree that there is some similarities between the two, but paranormal can be explained to a scientific level, and supernatural is something that it just defies all the laws of science. And I find that so interesting, and the topic just so interesting too, because you got like I feel like when people talk about paranormal, it's like scary stuff, and then when people talk about supernatural, it's more like aliens, which can also be scary, but like more like angels and something that you can never truly explain. Which I guess you could say the same thing for ghosts. But there's still just such a difference between the two. Like eventually, I feel like maybe not in our lifetime, but eventually we will understand what a ghost is. You can capture a ghost on a recording, but you can't ever really capture like a soul. And I found that was explained it to me too, because I didn't even really think about the differences either until I started, looking things up and researching things. So I have to agree with what everybody was saying too, and it really made me think about it and be like, okay, like what's the difference between those two? Because I feel like on some level they're kind of exactly the same, but they're so different. So I agree with what everyone was saying.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, Cody, we'll
So-
take it away.
So I don't know if it caught up on the recording, but I was doing a small little golf clap for you because that's actually exactly what it is. So the terms paranormal and supernatural are often tossed around to mean the same thing, something we don't understand. They're actually two separate terms. Paranormal refers to something that's not understood by current scientific knowledge, but there's potential that something paranormal will someday be explained scientifically, and there's a likelihood there's a good natural explanation for it. While supernatural refers to a phenomenon that is beyond our capability to understand now and simply forever, because it just doesn't operate under our rules. So, like the straight-up definition for supernatural is attributed to some force beyond scientific understanding or the laws of nature, and the paranormal definition is denoting events or phenomena such as telekinesis or clairvoyance that are beyond the scope of normal scientific understanding. So, yeah, basically, but the thing is, like, angels and demons are actually more considered, I believe, paranormal from what I found, because they're supernatural uses. So basically what I learned, supernatural is gods, deities, things we'll never understand, ever. But everything they can do is, like, paranormal. So they can use paranormal effects like ghosts, hauntings, curses. So, going on from just going over all the definitions and everything, time for our surprise. Yeah.
A surprise!
Our surprise! So the surprise is we are going throughout the entire episode, play a little game called Supernatural or Paranormal.
The prize you win is to keep your soul. The only fun is that you're banished to the abyss forever.
So, I'm going to just spat out a small little quick story, and it's going to encompass something that's either supernatural or paranormal, and you two have to guess whether it's supernatural or paranormal. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Sound good? All right. So,
Yeah.
question number 1. You're walking through the forest in the Great Rockies. You're hiking.
Okay.
And as you're walking through, you hear a little rustling behind the trees. You're like, of course, we're curious because we watch horror movies, so we're gonna obviously go see what the sound is.
Okay.
And so as you go
Okay,
through,
sure.
and so while you're investigating the sound, and off in the distance you see a giant, hairy creature walking through at really
And you're
fast,
still
and
wanting to
stops.
walk towards it.
Exactly, and you look, and so just because you're like a quick glimpse, and you walk even closer, and you notice
Okay.
that it's Bigfoot walking through the Rockies.
Okay.
Supernatural, paranormal.
Supernatural.
Crystal.
Would be paranormal because eventually maybe he could be real, and that would be something that you can explain.
And Crystal is correct.
Yep, there goes
Yeah.
Correct. Cryptids are actually paranormal because there is the chance that they will be able to be proven true. So Loch Ness Monster, Yetis, Bigfoot, Chupacabra even,
Okay.
while those are myths, there's a chance that they could be proven true, so they are paranormal.
I said supernatural
Interesting.
because I also feel bad for Bigfoot. I feel like he gets a lot of flack, and I just want him to know that I think he's a super nature guy, as Antoinette Joelle pointed out.
Yeah. Oh, I actually made a note. I wanted to tell Antoinette Fox that she was correct, except she switched the meanings. So she had it word for word, the actual definitions of supernatural and paranormal.
Oh, snap.
But she said the supernatural definition was actually the paranormal definition.
Oh,
So I was
snap.
like, go.
Oh,
correct.
okay.
Yeah.
So, a 95 is still a passing grade.
It's like, you're in the ballpark, so I'll give you a C.
The work is there. It's a little askew, that's all. One of those teachers that talked like that. I like your effort. You did really good.
So, the history of supernatural and paranormal is actually really, really cool to look up because I found out that supernatural actually has been around a lot longer. The belief is that supernatural has actually been around since humans have been alive because we use supernatural entities to explain existence, as God created us, and there's no explanation, why we're around.
I hope I'm not skipping too far ahead by accident, but I would even say it's really prevalent in religious texts too.
Oh yeah, no.
Because I'm glad you brought up God in this instance with because if we read the Bible, a lot of that material in there could be very, very easily seen as supernatural. I mean, Jesus turning water into wine, probably the most known example, but so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and so where? I lost my spot when you joined.
I had to bring up religion, didn't I?
No, I mean I was just mostly just using. I used religion as it because supernatural basically talks about deities and everything. So,
right.
Just coming back, the word supernatural occurring as both an adjective and a noun, descendants of the modern English compound supernatural enter the language from two sources via Middle French supernaturel. And I don't know if that's actually how you're supposed to pronounce it in French. Directly from the Middle French's term's ancestor, post-classical Latin supernaturalis. Post-classical Latin supernaturalis first occurs in the 6th century, composed of the Latin prefix super and naturalis.
Supernaturalis sounds like a shampoo line.
Your head's going to be supernaturalis.
Oh my God.
With you, supernaturalis. And it's just
gonna
like
be a gift of the gods.
Yeah, and it's just like a girl in like a shower, like that commercial where it's just like, you're worth it.
Funny.
But yeah, and so the earliest known appearance of the word in the English language occurs in Middle English translation of Catherine of Siena's dialogue. So yeah, supernatural, the term for it has been around since the 6th century, so for fucking ever. While paranormal has existed in the English language since at least 1920, so it's actually an extremely new term.
Yeah.
The word consists of two parts, para and normal. The definition implies that the scientific explanation of the world around us is normal, and anything that is above, beyond, or contrary to that is para. So some like real life examples of that would be the migration of birds. So before, scientists decided they want to go, why are birds flying north or is it south in the winter and north in the summer?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think so.
they thought...
I'm not the biggest aviation expert.
No, but because originally they were they thought it was some supernatural entity. They couldn't explain the birds going to and fro and everything. So back then, that was supernatural to them. And then when science came around and we found out that, the birds actually, it's a natural thing, it was considered more paranormal. And that's kind of like where the term was starting to be more renowned.
Huh.
Yeah.
No shit.
Interesting. So the horror community basically came in and was just like, we're gonna bird and make it demonic. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, basically.
This is ours now. So
They're like, we own this now.
I would actually, I had to double check really quick because you're saying like it was 1920. So yeah, the term is now, considering this year, now a century-year old.
Told you.
So that's right on the marker too. I know.
Fucking believes Cody's doing his research.
No, I believe you. I was just in my head. I was just like, that makes a century, right? That's a century. Decade means 10. Century means 100, right? I am so grateful that people consider us credible. It's a century. Anyway, sorry. This has nothing to do with the subject at all. Please, let's talk more about paranormal and supernatural. Welcome to the Pog Rock Horror Math Podcast. So, Krista, we're going to throw a fraction your way, and I want you to tell me what the answer is. No.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I think I'm good.
You good?
I think.
All
right. Anyways, so coming off of our math segment, let's go for question number 2.
My bad.
So question number 2 today of our...
Oh, no worries, man.
Yeah. Good thing we can edit.
No worries. I got this. Keep going.
Okay. So, Crystal, can you hear the question?
I can hear it a little bit. It's just breaking up.
Don't worry. I'll just type it to you
in this
case.
Okay. So,
yeah. If you type the question, Thank you.
So the question, I'll just tell you the question now. This question is going to be, all right. So, story. Once again, you're walking through the beautiful Rocky Mountains. The reason why I'm saying the Rocky Mountains so much is because we live in Colorado, and all our stories are going to take place in the Rocky Mountains. So we're walking through the beautiful Rocky Mountains, and it was a bright blue sky, sunshiny day. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, in the distance, you hear a crackle. And you look over like, why? It's sunshine, and the skies are blue. Why am I hearing thunder? And so it starts coming closer. And you look up, and just one gray cloud is approaching you. And so you're just wondering, you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take some cover. And so you find a small cave. And so you're going to take cover in the cave for a bit. Maybe the storm will pass. But as the storm is passing in front of you, see a small man in a blue robe. And you're like, get the fuck out. Gandalf lives over in the Rocky Mountains. And as you all know, Gandalf is a wizard, and he doesn't wear blue, and I couldn't remember Merlin for some reason. It's Merlin. It's not Gandalf. Merlin's walking through, summoning a storm. So, is Merlin supernatural or paranormal?
I would say that Merlin is he's probably supernatural. Because I don't think you can really ever explain that.
Matt.
I feel like this is a trick one. Because we know Merlin is a character, but the things he did could also be explained. So, Take a shot in the dark here. I'm going to say paranormal.
Merlin is supernatural.
God damn it.
Oh my God,
Crystal got it right again. 2 for 2.
God.
So the reason
If I
why...
lose one more, that means Crystal's the new host on this show. I'm going to go start an entirely new podcast.
So, reason why is because magic is actually considered supernatural, while magic and magic users, or because magic and magic users are actually not explainable by science.
Yeah.
The effects afterwards can be explained by science. Hence why the spells can be considered paranormal, because there's runes. There's A and B to C. That's kind of like how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so
Interesting.
that's why I thought it
Okay.
was like a trick question though, because like wasn't wizardry and all that stuff supposed to be like things that were drawing on forces of nature? Like I know that's like witchcraft, but wasn't some wizardry about that too? So do you see what I'm saying?
So witchcraft is actually supernatural.
I should just stop talking.
Okay, so like miracles are so like I know that's the thing is like people you think supernatural and paranormal, you always think these things are the same, but they're not. So witchcraft, you kind of think would have been paranormal things, but there's paranormal elements from a
Right.
supernatural place. So like
Okay.
again, so i.e. a haunted
Okay,
house.
interesting.
Yeah, so the best example, a haunted house.
Right.
A haunted house is supernatural because it can't explain why they're there, but all the ghosts are paranormal because you explain,
Right.
you can kind of scientifically explain ghosts in the
Okay.
future. Like there's a potential we can actually scientifically explain
Correct.
ghosts,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
can't explain why the house is cursed.
And to be fair, our own paranormal princess, Erin, she actually, on her podcast and on here as well, with her paranormal investigations, has really pointed out the fact that you have to be very critical when investigating these type of happenings and deciding it. And it's kind of like what you said, Crystal, earlier in the episode, about not really being able to capture like a spirit or a soul, and on camera, and people will often view, and even Aaron touched on this, view like those little orbs as like souls, when matter of fact, more often than not, they tend to be like little particles of dust or what have you. So this is really interesting to see how this all ties in.
Yeah, and Crystal, your comment about a soul is supernatural yet a ghost is paranormal is actually correct, because there's no way to explain a soul but you can explain a ghost. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if we look at it, and really look at it, in traditional media, we can give faces to ghosts, whether it's the typical, sheeted ghost with black eyes and whatnot, or even something to more terrifying effect with like, Ghost from Christmas Past or what have you. We're already putting images to it, and so that's kind of in a way explaining it from a more fantastical sense, but we're still explaining it. Whereas a soul, we haven't really. I mean, probably the most notable thing was like Mufasa talking from the clouds. So if that's what souls look like, then fucking everybody's going insane on a hill talking to the clouds.
just when you brought up Aaron, I'm imagining she's gonna like comment on this. Cody, you're full of fucking shit. You were wrong this entire time.
All right. Anyways, going on. So, of course, because we like to talk about horror movies, all three of us, No way.
I wanted to do.
Remember, this is the math podcast.
I actually wanted to look and see what was the very first movie to include supernatural and paranormal. And I know we talked about it on the paranormal, or in our paranormal episode, way back when, but I can't remember. I couldn't find my notes from the episode. But so the earliest movie to have any kind of supernatural or paranormal elements was released in February 4th, 1923. It's called The Bishop of the Ozarks. It was called, and the synopsis is: a mad doctor uses his powers of telepathy to control a beautiful young girl. But the film is presumed lost, so there's really no way to watch it. Presumably. So yeah, and then the first ghost movie, hold on. Sorry, it's the first movie to
I
have
can say it if you want.
supernatural-based works. The movie's called Les Manoirs du Diable. It's the best known of these early supernatural-based works is the 3-minute short film Les Manoirs du Diable, 1896, known in English as both The Haunted Castle or The House of the Devil. The film sometimes credited as being the first ever horror film.
Damn.
Wow,
Mhm.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I've heard of
French, man. Head of the game.
the second one. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, the French have been the
That's
head of the
cool.
game.
I figured it was.
years.
You figured it was what? Sorry,
Yeah,
I cut
right.
out on our end.
I didn't know that. I heard the first film, but I've never heard of the second film. That's
Oh,
interesting.
the House
Cool.
of the
I didn't
Devil.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
just
yeah,
its
yeah.
other name. So it's,
Okay,
it's still the
okay,
same
okay.
movie. Yeah, it has two different names: The Haunted Castle or The House of the Devil. But yeah, so that's considered the very first horror film and also the first supernatural-based horror film.
I also think it's really interesting whenever it's like a supernatural or even sometimes even paranormal movie. Like they always associate it with something demonic or devilish.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Always. Mm-hmm.
like it's not like and not like I get it. Like it's horror. Like obviously has to be something that frightens people. And I get like satanic panic, all that stuff. That the devil scares the shit out of people.
Mm-hmm.
But if like you think about it, man, like if you could attach it to something where it's like even Lovecraftian, like. Those tales that Lovecraft made were also far more terrifying than a lot of the stuff that you read in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just really interesting that like that's where everybody pulls from. Like not even any other cultures really, just more like the Christian and Catholic view of God.
Oh yeah, that's because demons are scary. Demons are probably this. Like I've talked to a lot of different people who are not big into horror, and they say. Or watch a film, a scary film, it can't be something with anything demonic because it just scares them so much. And I'm like, no, I totally get that. Those are the scariest ones because it's real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that also the reason why, especially with supernatural, why we use in film, especially why we use like demons, angels, and God, the devil, and deities, is because our culture, just like the American culture in general, is so wrapped up in Christianity that's the easiest go-to thing. Because gods, deities, angels, demons, they're all supernatural. And what's the easiest way to scare a country that's based off of Christianity? You go to hell.
Yeah,
So.
Like the whole idea of like you do anything
From
wrong.
hell, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if you steal the one gumball and don't say sorry or anything, you're gonna have your skin ripped from your flesh.
Yeah.
Or I mean your flesh ripped from your bones. I mean you're gonna have your skin ripped from your skin, man.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense. So.
No, I totally agree. No, that makes a lot of sense. Why it is so scary. I mean, for me at least, I know that one of the scariest films I've ever seen was The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That movie completely terrified me.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
That's our
I
thing.
really like that movie.
That film. Me too. Actually, somebody the other day told me I look like Jennifer Carter.
I can
Really?
see it. I can see it.
All I can say
Cool.
is, whatever you do, don't become a reporter, and especially if you become a reporter, don't go to a house that all of a sudden like it has a ton of like people going into it and might be slightly quarantined. That I'm just gonna say.
And hopefully, if you have a
Yeah, but
stepbrother, he's got a serial killer.
That film scared me for so long. So I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah. Oh no, that scene where she's like bending back and speaking in tongue and shit, that scared the shit out of me because I saw that movie first when I was in the drive-thru, or the drive-in, not the drive-thru, but I saw it at the drive-in, and so I'm just sitting there, and there's of course people having sex in a car like 3 rows back, but it's
cute.
an old car,
It
so
goes
you're
with
hearing
horror,
it,
though.
like, yeah. So there's a horror film. Her back is breaking as she's reaching back and speaking tongue, and then all of a sudden I just hear behind me. So I'm like, oh my god, it's here.
I can
That's
hear the
funny.
bones right
Yeah.
now.
Oh God.
She said I'm
That's
coming.
It's so close. It's coming for me.
I gotta get out of here.
Although, horror drive-through, that'd be interesting. Like, McDonald's pick that up or something. Like, while you wait for your quarter pounder, please enjoy the movie Quarantine.
Guess where our hamburgers are coming from tonight?
Oh, man. Okay, do we have another question?
Yep, we have one last question
One last question.
for the night. Third and final question. Crystal, are you ready and can you hear me?
I'm ready.
Cool.
I'm good.
I was like making sure you can hear. All right. So,
Yeah.
once again, you're walking through the Rocky Mountains. The beautiful Rocky Mountains. It's a nice, good day. And then you just hear something in the distance. You just hear... Like, huh. Alright, it's just the wind, whatever. But, so you keep continuing on. And then all of a sudden you just hear a faint voice in the back. And you're like, oh shit, what was that? You know, it's probably just an echo. I mean, the Rocky Mountains, it echoes, whatever.
We're positive it's not people having sex in a car 3 rows down, right?
Pretty sure.
God.
We're in the Rocky Mountains.
Just want to make sure.
So as you continue on the trail, in a very haunting voice, you hear behind you, "Return the slab, or suffer my curse." Curse cows and dog lovers. And you're like, what the fuck? And you turn around, and you see a mummy, and he's just screaming at you, "Return the slab, or suffer my curse." And you're like, I don't have a fucking slab. I'm in the Rocky Mountains. And then a swarm of locusts come at you, and you start freaking out, and you hear again, "Return the slab, or suffer my curse." And once again, you yell, "I don't have your fucking slab." And then all of a sudden, you hear the thunder raining, and then a flash flood comes down. Supernatural, paranormal.
For your answer,
God, this one's hard.
Exactly.
I was really expecting you just to reply with Eustace bag and just be like, "We ain't buying any.
I wanted to, right?
What are you selling?
I ain't got none.
We don't want none." Okay.
Oh, this is hard. You go first. I don't want to go first.
Okay, to be specific,
Okay.
what's supernatural? What's paranormal?
Oh, okay, well,
All right, there we
I'm
go.
gonna say paranormal. I'm gonna stick with it.
God, it's like a mix of both, I feel, right? Because the curse is supernatural, but the mummy is paranormal, right? Because you can prove the
I think
mummies
it's
are
the other way
real.
around. I think the curse is paranormal, but the mummy is more supernatural.
Okay. What's the answer? I want to know.
Okay, so Matt got it right, actually.
Oh my god! I've redeemed myself.
So the mummy is supernatural because resurrection cannot be explained.
Oh, okay.
Flash floods
Okay.
and locusts can scientifically be explained,
I knew it.
so they're paranormal.
Well, tough luck, Crystal. I'm still the host of this podcast.
That's why I wanted to do that one for the last one, because I was like, okay, I know I kind of like mixed the Merlin using, summoning rain and whatnot, but I was like, okay, the last one has to be show the fact that supernatural entities can use paranormal means, because that's like the biggest thing,
So
and why
interesting.
people get mixed up
Yeah.
so much is because supernatural entities, i.e. mummies, because they're resurrected, can use paranormal means. Yeah. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really cool. No, I liked that. That was awesome.
So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, really.
I like that.
I like the whole
That's
question.
awesome.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, they kind of like
Yeah,
that.
no, that was really
Cool. Well, thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the
I
questions.
did. Tough,
Cool.
and tough rocks, Crystal. You're still gonna have to be the host on your show. I saved myself.
Oh, man. That's all right. I think I'll be all right.
What's that supposed to mean?
I think I can handle it. I'll be all right.
What, you think you're better than us or something?
So, coming to a close from everything, Supernatural has been around a lot longer than Paranormal has. Paranormal is credited for only being around for a century. Supernatural is being considered being around since at least the 6th century, but more than likely since humans have been alive and could tell stories, you know, like the Egyptians with the hieroglyphs talking about Anubis and all of their gods, and like are the first proof of man, and you know all the cave drawings, and whenever they would show like a god of the sun or whatever, like they would use supernatural entities to explain just modern day life. And then paranormal entities came out just to explain like bird migration and stuff that we could end up actually proving. So,
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's awesome. That's really cool.
So, to start wrapping it up, Cody, to end the argument, what is the difference between supernatural horror and paranormal horror?
So supernatural horror would be dealing with something that could not be explained by scientific means, i.e. any movie that has to deal with the devil, God, or some kind of deity, just as an easier explanation. And then paranormal is anything that has scientific thought and can scientifically prove it. So things like Paranormal Activity and most ghost movies would be more paranormal because you can kind of prove that there's something.
All right, right on. Mm-hmm. Nice, Crystal. What about you? What is your input? Do you have anything else you'd like to add in?
I don't think so. I'm definitely not. I'm interested to see to people about it because I think it raises such a good I don't want to say argument, but sharing of what other people think about it too. Because before you topic, I never really thought about it. And Supernatural is the 14 season long show, so. I really liked the topic a lot. I think it was really interesting. Didn't really understand it, and I really liked like how each thing is and how so that mummy thing. Like it was resurrection. That's so cool. Like I'm gonna ask them the question and be like, is it supernatural or is it paranormal? I'm definitely gonna use that, sure. And then I'm gonna explain to them how, because I just think it's so.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like that's super exciting. Do it. I want to. So like, because I was totally thinking about using the questions more. Also, just randomly throwing in.
Yeah.
On the podcast, so like, is it supernatural or paranormal, Matt?
Is it supernatural or is it paranormal?
But no, I'm really glad. That makes me happy that you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Right on.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was like, happy that it was informative.
Yes.
Thank you, Crystal.
We're losing your audio just a little bit, Crystal, but with that, I mean, it's okay because we're now at the end of this episode, and so I think we'll give the audio a break overall. But before we fully head out, I want to give a huge thank you to you again, Crystal, for coming on and blessing us with your graces and hanging out with us and talking about horror with us. Ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants. When it comes to horror, when it comes to the horror community, there's some great, amazing people in there, and one of the best people is Crystal. Please check her out. Check out Horror Nights and check it out on YouTube. Everywhere where you can listen to podcasts, you are definitely in for a treat. She is an amazing host. She does a lot of great topics, and the way she goes into the movies is really fantastic. She's a friend of the show. We enjoy having her on. We enjoy being part of her show. Crystal, is there anything else you want to add in?
Go use TikTok because it's fun.
Words of wisdom. Go use TikTok. It's fun.
I'm planning on it.
You can find me anywhere. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr. Everything is Horror Nights and Podcast. I'm probably, if you use an app, I'm probably on it.
Sounds good.
We will have those links below in the description. If you're listening on YouTube, in that description as well, just pull down and you will see those links. And as always, ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants, you know where to follow us on Facebook, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, or on Twitter at official PRHP, or
On Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, #PRHP Podcast.
If you like what we're doing and you like the progression of the show, please let us know. Let us know what you like about it. Let us know what you could do without. And the best way to do that is to go on iTunes and give us a 5-star review, or 4 or 3. I'm always going to encourage that 5. Let us know what you think, and we might actually just read it here on the show. And if you do like what we're doing and want to help out more, please consider going over to our Patreon. And just for $2 a month, you will get access to our bonus show, the Punk Rock Half Hour of Power, along with a lot of great other rewards. A big, huge thank you again to all of you listeners for supporting us, and an even bigger thank you to you, Crystal, for again hanging out with us and just being an overall badass, cool person.
Oh, well, thank you guys for having me again. It was so much fun.
Absolutely. All right, ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants, we will talk about horror with you next time.